Okay, Vortex. I have talked about 2 of the subjects that I was trying to talk about using this whiteboard. I have been succeeding thus far. You might not agree because you don't like me. That's okay, I like me. If you liked you, you wouldn't hate on people. So this last one. Trying to be nicer to the sheep considering they're not in clusterA. Okay. I kind of talked about this in the last video a little bit. I told myself I was going to be early, and I'm actually early. How cool is that, you guys? Let's see how early I am. 27 minutes early, holy shit. That's pretty good, wouldn't you say? That's really good for me, since I'm usually 30 minutes late. I gotta take whatever time I'm late and just be early. I just gotta flip it, you know? I'll tell myself I'm late in this other way. You know? I gotta fuck with my brain. But, okay, so, in case you're not familiar, I'm sorry if this gets redundant for you. If you've heard me talk about this as many times as I've already talked about it. I have a personality disorder that's in clusterA. Okay, clusterA are the odd eccentric personality disorders. Now, I realize that a lot of psychology is just a way to put people in these little boxes. I'm saying this really for other people so that they understand that there is something significantly different about me, and that it's not a choice. Like, I do have this choice to go along with it. I have the choice to say yes or no. You know, everybody has that choice no matter what. When it comes to a personality disorder, it's a little bit different than having a psychotic disorder. A lot of psychotic disorders, for example, bipolar disorder or just straight up schizophrenia, it's something that kind of flares up. But, you know, I don't think that it's ever been the intention of the medical community to understand disorders or mental illness at all. They're just capitalizing on the fact that human beings don't really have any regard for their humanity. Mental illness is extra. Okay, so it's extra emotions, extra thoughts, extra ideas, and that gets confusing but if you understand what's happening, you get used to it and you don't care anymore, and it's as long as you're not hurting other people, as long as you're not hurting yourself. I just avoid the things that are not good for me. There are certain people that I don't like, certain people that I think are just horrible people. I try to stay away from them. It's really simple, you know, but because of the existence of the internet, it's just made things so much more complicated. That's why I do what I do. the way that I do it, and I refuse to do it the way that other people tell me to do it, because I know the negative impact that it would have on me without even having to own a smartphone. Um, so, when I talk about the voice of God, that just means my instinct, okay? You know, like when your instinct tells you, like, don't go don't go to this event because something might happen, or you know, you just have a gut feeling about something. Like that's God, okay? I mean, whatever you want to believe, I don't care what you believe or don't believe. I really don't. I'm not trying to push this, okay? I'm just trying to explain myself in my perspective, all right? But yeah, I have a flip phone because I don't want my brain to turn to fucking mush. And it's not just that, I don't want to become dependent on a phone. And I don't like smartphone culture. I don't like social media. I don't like hashtags. I don't like selfies. I don't like memes. I fucking hate memes with a passion. I hate memes. They're stupid. They're fucking stupid. The majority of memes are stupid, stupid, stupid. Okay? Every once in a while, you'll see a meme that's actually really clever and funny, but it's still a fucking meme. You know what I mean? You know what I meme? Get it? That was stupid. Don't think I don't know that was stupid. Anyway, hold on. clusterA is for the freaks of society, okay? Not the sexual freaks, mind you, because we don't want to have sex. So if you don't know what clusterA is, that's paranoid personality, schizoid personality, and schizotypal. That last one is the one that we have. Schizoids and schizotypals get confused. We are similar, but we're also very different. That's why I defend Nick Fuentes to the ends of the earth, because he's a schizoid. So he's like one of my fellow freakzoids in clusterA, and I know that he'll deny that because he doesn't want to see himself that way, but I get it. I think that when it comes to the personality disorder, the reason why schizophrenia is so stigmatized is because we utterly reject the world, and we don't care if people find that offensive. If you see some schizophrenic person, like some homeless dude that's just babbling to themselves, they clearly don't care what you think. You know what I mean? And there's nothing more offensive than that. Really, like, and I've realized that is the impression that a lot of people get in Nashville, like when I do stand up, and a major reason why people have such an issue with me is because, like, they're more image oriented. And I don't necessarily think it's because they want to get gigs and stuff like that. I think that there are plenty of comedians that don't actually want that. They just do comedy as a form of therapy, or like it's a hobby or something. But they definitely see me as a threat because I just don't care. I mean, I said the N-word. Like, any white person that says the N-word into a microphone clearly doesn't give a fuck about image stuff, okay? And I'm not saying that to be like hateful. I mean, if you heard the bit, you'd probably feel differently about it. I mean, every black person that I've told the joke to loves the joke. But yeah. Anyway, I mainly just said it to get it out of the way. But I wanted people to know, like, yeah, I don't care about that. Like, you can call me a racist. That's fine. Um, and I regularly bitch about women. You know, like I have so many jokes about women, how I don't want to associate with them. And I mean, they're just not my kind of people, you know? But like I said earlier, you know, plenty of men are acting just like women, so I guess it really doesn't matter, does it? If the genders are not very easy to distinguish anymore, then it doesn't much matter what genitals people have between their legs, you know, if they don't really act accordingly. Not saying that you have to fit any kind of stereotype, you know, I definitely don't live in a box, which is why I'm a clusterA person. Um, but, I talk about this stuff to try to, like, loosen the stigma. I don't really think I'm doing that good of a job. But, I mean, I don't know how anybody would get a violent vibe from me. I've never been violent unless when I was drunk, I was fighting people, but haven't drank in a long ass time, so, you know, I don't do things that enable bad behavior. Like, when I drank, I was a slut, and I tried to fight people, and, you know, I was just a very confrontational person, you know? But I'm not going to behave that way unless I'm intoxicated. And so if I just stay away from alcohol, I really don't have to worry about exhibiting those types of behaviors. But yeah, I realized though that, you know, when I bitch about sheep, when I bitch about people that trust the CDC and head doctors and all that, you know, that's not really fair because, yeah, they just don't have this advantage that we have. I mean, who knew that being on the schizophrenia spectrum would be some kind of advantage? But it really is, because you know that they're full of shit. You know that everything's a business. And if everything's a business, then there's no ethics. There can't be ethics in an establishment that only cares about making money. And they're going to do that any way that they can. And that's also good to realize that just about the way that the world is. So it's not just like, fuck the government, fuck doctors, fuck authority. You know, it's like, this is the way that everything is structured. And the sheep go along with it because they don't know any better. They literally don't. Nobody ever sat them down and told them, you don't have to listen to your teacher. You know? I stopped saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I would hold my hand over my heart. I would pretend. I'd just hold it like this. I forgot the last part. Something about liberty. But yeah. It's like, I've always been a conspiracy theorist. I've never trusted anything that the system is pushing. You know, whether that system is left or right, or whatever political party, whatever's popular, I just have the tendency to be like, no, that's bad. Like, I have a natural aversion to what's popular. I have a natural aversion to anything involving society. And I always have. And I'm not trying to be cool, and I'm not trying to be authentic or anything like that. It's like, I mean, it is kind of authentic though, for real, because yeah, people just tend to go along, and they don't question what they're going along with at all. And that's why they're so mad that they're experiencing all these side effects. And the doctors, they don't really know anything about it. I mean, how many doctors even know about akathisia? That's why I say they're like psychopaths. So many of them are psychopaths because they do know about it, and they don't disclose the information, which is malpractice. Okay? But there are genuinely many doctors and nurses that don't fucking know, because they're not paid to know that stuff. They're not paid to know that pharmaceuticals have side effects that are so bad that they make people commit suicide. Okay? They can't have these doctors and nurses starting to develop a conscience, Because the ones that do just get called quacks, And people tend to like disregard anybody that's like holistic. And I've heard this a lot where people will say, no, I don't want to do war drugs. Like, I don't want to mess with plants or whatever. And I'm like, but you're willing to listen to somebody in a lab coat. So what's the difference between like taking pills from somebody in a lab coat and buying those same pills off the street? It's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But like I was just saying, the sheep have been trained to trust those in authority with the lab coat and the prescription pad and the stabby thing, okay? They trust those people. They don't trust the street dealer. Even though the street dealer is risking way more doing what they're doing than the doctor ever will. Because it doesn't matter how many people commit suicide on the doctor's medication. It doesn't matter if their patients end up shooting a bunch of people or stabbing their mother 67 times or some shit, because you hear about that. You hear about these kids that are on pills that end up like killing their parents or bludgeoning their best friend with a hammer or some shit, Like, just think about all of the acts of violence that you don't hear about because they don't involve a firearm, okay? Think about all the suicides that do involve a firearm, but because they're not media friendly, okay? The people that work in the media are almost just as bad, if not worse, than these psychiatrists, okay? Because they capitalize on all of this violence, and it works out really well for them. But, I mean, this whole country, if they just stopped filming everything and we just went back to basics, we just started paying attention to things and noticing our surroundings. I wasn't the only one that happened to notice things, That was a lot more common of a thing. This world would be so much better. This country would be so much better. But yeah, I have to remember that most people don't have a clusterA personality type. So they're not going to question anything. And whenever they start to question things, they're going to pat themselves in the back and feel really, really special for doing that, even though it took them 20 years. But, I mean, it's the way that I'm wired. You know, I'm just wired to not trust what I'm told about anything. And it's not because, oh, I'm just so much better than anybody else. I mean, yeah, I did make a choice to just go along with it rather than fight it. But because it's a personality disorder, it's not just some psychotic episode. It's not some seasonal thing. Like, it's something that I've had to get used to, and it's like I've definitely made accommodations for it. Case in point, I had to pretend I was a different person so that I would show up 30 minutes early instead of 30 minutes late. But here we are, right? Here we are. Let's just see if we can do that shit tomorrow.